What's up, Internet? Just a little quick one before my light fades and then I have to figure out lamps and things. Not into it. So today I want to talk about the fact that you start where you are. So whatever's been going on in your life in the past, it's not as significant as people think, and people rush into trying to sort out their entire history to their detriment as they start practicing things that are going to help them be a happy human being. So sort of the picture is this: the clouds part, you've got some great insight into what it's going to take to bring a more positive life experience to the fore for you. And in that opening, you have the ability to perceive the things that have gone before that have been thwarting your efforts to be a happy human being. And the thought which arises there, and it's a trap, if you hear it, it's a trap, is I've got to go back and figure all this stuff out. I've got to get square with what's gone on in my past. And so people will sort of take out their whole history of trauma and noodle it as if this is doing anything helpful for them. And it's not in the short term. In the long term, you have to reconcile with everything that's gone on in your life. But the beautiful thing about the past is it keeps really well. No matter how long you go cruising through life, your past is actually going to be there. So you don't have to take care of it today. You don't have to get it settled. What you need to do is triage, right? Focus on the most urgent thing first, and that is stabilizing your life experience, setting in place the structures that are going to help you stay on the path of practicing to be happy. And when you've reached a stable place, when you have the luxury, you can go back and say, now what really was going on in this incident, or that incident, or that incident? The reason why this sort of rush to investigate the past is such a great trap, right, is that it seems like the past is really relevant, right? My entire present condition is conditioned on my past experience. So surely there's a lot of important information there. And that's really not that true, again, in the short run. The accidents of your past are not very useful. What's useful is exactly where you are now. Paying attention to this moment, what's going on, and what's going to contribute to your happiness. So if you can focus here, leave the past, it'll keep, right? It's not going anywhere. Focus right here. What is it that's going to serve my happiness now? And keep stepping forward, moment to moment, figuring out exactly that. Then you're going to have a much more promising set of outcomes. You're gonna do a lot better if you can keep your mind right here and not worry about what's going on in the past. Because the problem with the past is, for most of us, a lot of it is painful, and that's just a function of the way that the universe is structured. You know, there are a lot more ways to be wrong than to be right, and anytime we go into a new domain of human experience, we're going to screw it up a bunch of times, and we have a lot of social information that's embarrassing or hurtful or all of these sorts of things, and we do have to go square with all of that. You know, you gotta square up to that, but you don't have to do it soon. So put it off. Get your present situated. You can work on the past really at any point in your future. It's always going to be there. So figure out where you are now and move from here. Now, we know that this is a seductive line of argument. In economics, it's called the sunk cost fallacy, where people will stay stuck in a suboptimal choice because they've invested a lot in that choice in the past. So I've made this choice a bunch of times in the past, so now I have to keep making it. Otherwise, all that time in the past was wasted. And the economists will tell you, no, you don't get any of that time back. You don't get any of the money you invested back. So, you know, the quintessential example is, you know, if you wake up on the day of the big playoff game that you bought tickets for, and you are just desperately ill, and you know you're going to have a terrible time at the game, do you go to the game, right? And a lot of people go, but I paid money for this, I gotta go. And the economists will say, no, you need to do the thing that is going to produce the most happiness over the course of today. Because no matter which course you take, you don't get that money back. It's gone. That's why it's called the sunk cost fallacy. Right? And that is just a cognitive bias that human beings have. right? And that plays out here. That's how this becomes a trap, is that, the feeling is, since I've lived this whole life, if I'm going to go forward, if I'm going to make choices that are going to make me happy, I got to figure out why I didn't make these choices in the past, right? Or it could be that, there are literal sunk cost fallacies going on. I've made this choice in the past, so I got to keep making it in the future because I've invested so much time in this path. For me, the example that always jumps to mind is I've known so many people in so many bad relationships who stay in those bad relationships even though they know that they're making them miserable, because it's like, well, but I've been in this relationship for 5 years. I don't want to lose the 5 years, but the 5 years is gone. The past is gone. You got to go from right where you are today. What's going to make you the happiest human being? Move from there. So that's it. You start where you are. And hopefully you start today working on bringing the practices in your life that are going to make you a happy human being.